Hey guys, welcome back to the Oilers Fanatic. As we get closer to the expansion draft, I'll be posting a series of videos covering the big event. Today I wanted to do a video on the Oilers' potential buyouts. The Oilers aren't one of the teams that need to buy out a player for their protection list. They're in a good position that way. Where they aren't so lucky is that all the players they would be looking to get rid of are of zero interest to Seattle, unless the Oilers add a sweetener in a trade. So let's get started with the list. First up, James Neal. James Neal has 2 years remaining on his contract at $5.75 million per season. For a player that is at best a decent third liner at this point, the Oilers need to move on from him. Thankfully for them, they are in a good position too. If the Oilers buy out James Neal, here is a breakdown of the remaining years he would be on the books and his cap hit, courtesy of Capcom. So the Oilers would save $3,888,333 for the next 2 seasons, and then Neal is still on the books for an additional 2 seasons of $1,916,667. That total is his cap hit for the next 4 years. The savings could be huge for the Oilers in the short term, but I don't like the 2 extra years tacked on, where the Oilers have almost $2 million in dead money. Next up, Mikko Koskinen. Mikko Koskinen has 1 year remaining on his contract at $4.5 million. Koskinen has proven that he can be a solid 1B goaltender, but not much more than that. He's shown flashes of brilliance, and he's also let in 4 goals on 4 shots. If the Oilers were moving on from Mike Smith and decided to go for a big-name number 1 goaltender, I could live Mikko Koskinen for 1 more year as the backup. But Ken Holland has said he wants to bring back Smith, so in my opinion, Koskinen needs to go. He has been far too inconsistent to be the Oilers' crutch if Mike Smith falters. Here's a look at a Mikko Koskinen buyout from Cap Friendly. Koskinen's buyout would save the Oilers $3 million next season, and then give them 1 additional season of $1,500,000 in dead cap space. This is the buyout that makes the most sense to me. It gives the Oilers immediate savings next year, and there is only 1 extra season of punishment. At $1.5 million, it's an amount that shouldn't hinder the Oilers to a great extent. Next up, Kyle Taurus. Kyle Taurus has been a bust, pretty much from day one with the Oilers. Brought in to be the Oilers' third-line center, he failed to deliver, and the Oilers will be looking to get rid of him, one way or another this summer. Taurus has already been bought out once, coming to the Oilers as a free agent after his buyout in Nashville. Taurus has 1 year remaining on his contract at $1,650,000. Here's a look at a Kyle Taurus buyout from Capcom. The Oilers could almost eliminate Taurus' cap hit this season as it drops to $183,334. Next season it goes up, but still at a reasonable number of $733,334. A Taurus buyout would be relatively painless, but it's ultimately unnecessary. His cap hit is small, and by burying him in the AHL with the Bakersfield Condors, his cap hit, if I understand correctly, drops down to around $600,000. For that price, the Oilers might as well just endure the cap hit for 1 more season and just get Taurus off the books. The final player I'm going to look at as a buyout possibility is Zack Cassian. Since Cassian signed his new 4-year deal with the Oilers at a $3,200,000 cap hit, he has been a disappointment. It's not all his fault. He has run into injury problems and he was removed from the McDavid line, where he was doing his main production. But at that price point, the Oilers need more from Cassian, no matter where he plays in the lineup. Even just the energy he once brought seems to be gone. I've seen a lot of people point out that the Oilers need Cassian, and they do, but they need the old Cassian, not this newer version that makes little to no impact. If Cassian sticks around and regains his form this season, great. But if he doesn't, the Oilers have 3 more years on the books of a player adding nothing to the lineup at far too high of a cost. Here is a look at a Cassian buyout from Cap Friendly. There is definite savings in the buyout, with 4 of the 6 years featuring a cap hit under $1 million, but at 6 years it doubles the length of his contract. Having dead money for 6 years is far from an ideal situation. Obviously, if the Oilers can find a way to trade away any of these contracts, that is the way to go. But if the Oilers limit themselves to one buyout, I would go with Mikko Koskinen for $1.5 million for 2 years and an immediate $3 million in savings this season. The buyout period begins 24 hours after the final game of the playoffs, which could be today, but if not, within the next week, and lasts until July 27th. One final note for today. Darren Greger of TSN appeared on TSN 1050 in Toronto. And there, he reiterated that the Oilers have significant interest in Maple Leafs free agent forward Zach Hyman, and he could see a scenario where the Oilers could make a deal to acquire Hyman's rights from the Leafs to try and get a deal done before free agency opens. If the Oilers really want Hyman, it could be a smart move, provided they don't massively overpay. Hyman could also easily be added to the protection list for the expansion draft without losing anyone else huge off the lineup. What do you guys think about acquiring Zach Hyman early? What's your ideal cap hit and term for Hyman? For me, I wouldn't go above $5.5 million for 5 years. Who would you buy out on the Oilers roster? Sound off in the comments below. Thanks as always for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe for all the latest Oilers content. You've been listening to The Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.